So the first thing we need to do is get to work on that carrot salad. Now this is kind of sort of like a slaw. So I wanted to do a really nice vinegary dressing. If you wanted it to be a bit creamier, you could always add a little bit of mayonnaise into here too to give it that creamy slaw vibe. But I like that kind of lighter, brighter flavor. So the first thing I need is about 3 or 4 tablespoons of cider vinegar. I love a cider vinegar. If you don't have it, you could do a white wine. You could also, not white wine vinegar. I mean, to each their own. But white vinegar would also work. But I'm gonna go in with about 4 tablespoons of that beautiful vinegar. Then into there, I'm gonna go in with 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. This is gonna give a little bit of that creaminess. It's also gonna help emulsify everything, but it's also gonna give a little bit more of a kick, a little bit more flavor in there. So that's always a good thing. So 2 tablespoons of that goes right on in. You know me, I love a Dijon mustard. If you had grainy Dijon, feel free, you're so fancy. I'm doing plain old regular today. Then into there to season this up, I'm gonna go in with a teaspoon of cumin. Cumin's really nice. It's got kind of a lemony flavor. I just got a really hard nod from a lady in the audience. That is always a good thing. It's so good. It tastes smoky, it's a little bit lemony. It's really, really lovely. So I'm gonna add that right on into the bowl. Then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of salt and pepper. You know, the usual. This was actually a trick. Adding cumin into a salad dressing was a trick that I learned from Craig Wong, Chef Craig Wong. He's on the show every once in a while. He did a cumin salad dressing and it was absolutely amazing. So go on in with that. Give that a nice whisk to combine. Then we're gonna go in with a little bit of oil. Now, since I like a really, really punchy dressing, I'm only gonna go in with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you wanted this a little bit smoother, a little bit less intense, feel free to go in with about 4. That would be great as well. But this is a really nice dressing even if you're just making a salad, like a regular salad. Okay, perfect. That's looking great. Now for the veg. This is one of those salads that I make when I do not have lettuce, or you look in your crisper and that lettuce is just doing that. Or you know the baby greens, and you open it and you're like, oh, I don't even know what that is anymore. That happens a lot in my house, I'm not gonna lie, but crunchy veg stays so well in your crisper. So this can use any sort of crunchy veg. I always insist on a little carrot, a little celery to give you that hot wing vibe, but if you had like bell peppers, that would work too. Now, as opposed to actually chopping my carrots, I took to grating it. A little bit of grated carrot kind of gives you, again, that coleslaw vibe. If you had some cabbage, that would be beautiful in here as well. And if you wanted to slice the carrot, feel free to do that as well. But this gives you really nice, kind of spoonable salad, which I like eating with a spoon, always good. All right, now when we get to this point, you eat that carrot for safety's sake. And then I'm gonna show you a little bit of a trick to get all these carrots in. So I've grated the rest of the carrots under here. I'm gonna get a bench scraper, slip it underneath, bring it on over, and then pop it in. Not too shabby. Okay, I'm thrilled you reacted like that because I really sold that in rehearsal. I was like, this is gonna be awesome. All right, now we've got 2 stalks of celery here. You could also do 3 or whatever you're feeling. If you just need to use something up, feel free to go for that. I'm just gonna thinly slice that, real nice. I'm still eating on this carrot. We're doing a good thing. I forgot how loud carrots are to eat. Always a good thing. Now, if you wanted to dice this as well, that would work too. This would also be a really good salad to make in a food processor. If you had the slicing blade, just send it on through and you are good to go. All right, perfect. So celery is good. Celery is truly, unfortunately, one of my favorite foods. I know that's the most boring thing to say, but I love celery. It's super bright, it's a little herby, so add that right on in. Then one other thing that I always have, again, for a crunchy veg is a little bit of radish. So I've got about 6 radishes here that I've thinly sliced. Add those right on in. I've also got some green onion. Now, if you want, the original version of this salad was just a bunch of chives from my garden, but we're getting into the season where those chives might be turning. So green onions are always a good deal at the grocery store. Gonna give this a toss, just to combine and coat everything in that beautiful dressing. And then for a little bit of an extra crunch and a little bit more nutrients and protein, this carrot is taking forever. I've made a huge mistake, everybody. Okay, I'm also gonna go in with some sunflower seeds. This is something I've been adding to a lot of recipes lately. It gives a good crunch, a good nuttiness. So I've got about a 1/4 cup of those sunflower seeds here, just hulled. You can toast them if you want to, but I'm just gonna go right on in. If you had almonds, those would be good too. Walnuts would be really nice in here, but again, it gives a little bit more texture. Super tasty. All right. Now into there, you gotta have blue cheese. For me, a hot wing isn't a hot wing unless there's a blue cheese in there. If you don't love blue cheese, feel free to use feta. I'm going in with about 1/2 cup of blue cheese. Add that on in. I love a blue cheese. All right, give that a toss. And already, this is a stunning salad. You bring that to your next party, everyone's gonna be thrilled. Really nice to make ahead as well. But I promised you buffalo chickpeas, and just in time, I'm done the carrot. Let's do this, okay. So over here, I have got a pan. You wanna pop that on medium-high heat. Now you want this pan to be hot before it goes in. Mine's still preheating, but I'm gonna throw everything in. So before I put any oil in as well, I'm gonna go in with a can of drained and rinsed chickpeas. I want them to go into that dry skillet, because that's gonna help any moisture kind of cook off of those chickpeas and help them crisp up even better. Now I'd let those go for a little bit more. Then I would add in my oil, just to fry that up. Just about a teaspoon or two. Give that a toss. Season that up with some salt, a little bit of pepper. And at this point, I would fry these for about, I'd say 3 to 4 minutes, just until they're a little bit golden. Those skins start to get a little bit crispy. Then we're gonna season these like I do any sort of hot wing. The first thing I need is a teaspoon of chili powder. Chili powder's great, something Did you guys see that slow-mo? That was a sneaky just for the audience. Real slow-mo save there for the Berg. Okay, we're going in with a teaspoon of chili powder. Super nice, smoky, and wonderful. Again, a teaspoon of that cumin. That's gonna give that lemony smokiness that we love so much. Also makes it taste really meaty, which is a delight. Half a teaspoon of some cayenne pepper for that good heat that we're looking for. And about half a teaspoon of garlic powder as well. Add that on in. I would let that toast for about, I'd say 30 seconds, just until those spices kind of bloom and start to really smell beautiful. And then to anyone who said, ooh, to that half teaspoon of cayenne pepper, hold on to your socks, because we're going in with hot sauce. Not the hottest hot sauce, but one of my favorites. This is what I put on my eggs every morning. I absolutely love it. Cayenne pepper hot sauce. You want like 6 to 8 tablespoons of this hot sauce. And we're gonna do one of these. And anytime I say 6 to 8 tablespoons, that's because I don't want to say half a cup, but that's half a cup of hot sauce. So I'm just gonna pour that right on. Honestly, I love spice. If you don't love spice, feel free to pull back. As that crisps up, that starch comes out of those chickpeas, it's gonna kind of bring everything together. Once that's all crispy, I'd let this go a little bit longer. You grab those chickpeas, bring them over to that salad, and you just pour them right on over top. You get the flavor of a hot wing in that beautiful salad, a little bit of extra blue cheese on top, or maybe some of those leaves from that celery, one of my favorite little herbs. And that to me is an absolute dream. Salad you can eat with a spoon.
Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.